Happy New Year! Well, happy astrological New Year. This week is big, really, really big. There's a lot of shifting and energy. Whenever we have a week like this, it's going to seem like things are speeding up. We do start the week off a little slow because the mood of the week starts with a mutable water moon in the sign of Pisces, and it makes a conjunction to Neptune momentarily before it goes into the sign of Aries. Also, the moon in Pisces makes a sextile to Uranus that day, and on Tuesday it makes a conjunction to Neptune and also makes a sextile to Pluto, just as Pluto's at 29 degrees. Now 29 degrees is really critical. Any planet at the 29th degree is evolving and transforming, and that makes this aspect even more powerful because Pluto rules evolution, rules transformation, rules burning down to restore itself again. So this year is jam-packed with very amazing, transformative astrology and changing of energetic imprints for quite some time. Pluto spends a lot of time in signs, the outer planets all do, and he does have an erratic orb, so he spends more years in some signs than others. Pluto's been in the sign of Capricorn since approximately 2008, and around that time is when I had my first child. So this is very interesting. I transformed my life by becoming a mother. I no longer was a maiden or single. So Pluto assisted in that transformation for me. And now my son is entering a different stage in his life, and I'm still a mother to him, but not a mother of a baby. And it feels like I'm going through a transformation myself as I'm learning to adjust to a young adult, still a teenager, but thinks he's going into adulthood. So very interesting that these things are aligned with the cosmos as everything evolves and changes. So I'm feeling quite emotional. It's a good emotional feeling about Pluto going into Aquarius. At the same time, Pluto won't remain in Aquarius for a long time throughout the year because it will regress back to Capricorn. But then after that, in 2024, it solidly stays in the sign of Aquarius, and we are done with the transformation in the sign of Capricorn. So whatever house you contain this sign of Capricorn, and if you have any planets at those later degrees, you've been feeling that transformation of Pluto. You're going to feel this shift and a little bit of relief as Pluto lets go of his hard grip on those planets or house cusps or whatever you have there, to evolve now the sign of Aquarius. So you're going to be waking up. Now, Aquarius is all about technology and humanity and sharing consciousness with humanity. So it's like sparking the subconscious and making subconscious responses be acted upon to become conscious awareness on people and create and evolve our lives in a way that we can work better within community and our tribes. So Aquarius does rule technology, and we cannot deny that technology has improved our quality of life. We were able to make a lot of jobs with the technology, new jobs that were born with the evolution of technology, just as the one that I'm using now, podcast and the website and things like that. That was something that was obsolete before the 1900s, right? So technology does assist humanity. However, there's two sides of the coin. With any type of advancement, there's a consequence to it. And Pluto in Aquarius is going to let us know those consequences. So we're going to see a lot more technology come out, and things that have been in the works just get released and really blow our minds away. I was raised during a era where there was technology. I did use technology at school, not my early upbringing, because I was born in the 80s, but I did get, exposure to computers, and I can say I'm pretty tech savvy. But the technology that these children are growing up in right now, it's just mind blowing. I mean, Chat GPT, that is mind blowing. And you're going to see Pluto and Aquarius in full effect. So there's a lot of things going on this week that are seeding, and you might not even feel them, but they will definitely have an impact in your life for quite a large amount of years, because Pluto will be in the sign of Aquarius until 2044. So yeah, let's hold on. Shortly after, when the sun goes into the sign of Aries, which marks the start of the astrological new year. This is when the sun goes into the sign that starts things, ruled by Mars, right? This is spring. This is the full force energy. And the sun is exalted in Aries. It enjoys starting things. It enjoys this vibrant energy. It enjoys heating things up and fertilizing things and sprouting things, and also embedding courage and enthusiasm and zeal into our life so we can better ourselves. So this is why the sun in Aries is very enthusiastic. This is going to be expressed differently in the southern hemisphere. Most of my followers here are in the northern hemisphere, so I'm going to focus on the northern hemisphere, but in the southern, it's actually marking their fall. So in the northern hemisphere, this is when life begins. From this point on, the sun is going to, it's crossing the equator, right? And it's going higher and higher towards the Tropic of Cancer, where at that point it marks peak for summer. So yeah, very exciting. I love celebrating the astrological new year. Let me know what it is that you're planning on doing. Shortly after, we have a new moon in the sign of Aries, and this new moon is quite special. We typically don't have these very powerful alignments. Just like an example, the sun ingressing into Aries, and then at the same time, shortly after, making a new moon aspect. That doesn't happen often. So every ingression to Aries, this doesn't happen. So this year, we're having new beginnings right away. Now, that means that our zeal and our drive to just see new things, we have a lot of adventure running through our veins right now, is really quite impulsive and magical. There's something about the energy that is just telling us, just fucking do it. Just do it. Just go for it. Don't hesitate. Worry about the details later. Maybe you kind of, executed a little quick plan, because Mars does like to plan in the sign of Aries. Not much. Mars isn't in Aries. It's in Gemini, but Mars rules Aries. So in Gemini, Mars has been contemplating things, thinking a lot of what he wants to do. And now, as he moves forth this week with the last degrees of Gemini to transit, we're going to see a lot of the ideas that we were like going over and over in our heads really take seed. You might not see the fruition this week. This is not a week of fruition. This is a week of action. And as we take action, we see the results later, right? So Tuesday is very interesting too, because on that day we have the new moon, and we also have a very short void of course moon. And the reason this is short is because the moon shifts from Pisces to the sign of Aries on the 21st of March. And because Pluto, as it is at its last degrees in the sign of Capricorn, and Pisces makes a sextile to Capricorn, we have a 4-minute void of course, which is really interesting because that's a tiny little like amount of minutes that we are entering that vibe of like Mercury retro type of energy. The moon void of course kind of acts like that. I have a video if you guys want to check that out and listen to the meaning of the moon void of course. So I'll link that below so you can catch that later. So yeah, very very interesting that the moon in Pisces was able to get the last input with Pluto before Pluto shifts to Aquarius. So the next time the moon is making her rounds around the zodiac belt, whenever it interacts with Pluto, it's going to be at the early degrees of Aquarius. No more will the Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, and Aries axis feel that opposition or squares from the moon and Pluto, because now it's going to go into the fixed sign. So welcome Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus. You're going to feel that pull of Pluto in Aquarius and the activation of the moon every time the moon goes into the sign of Aquarius, or those fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, and Leo. So that's also evolving how our evolution is, how we're purging things, how we're changing things. So what a big week. Now on Wednesday the 22nd, the moon's still in the sign of Aries. It makes a conjunction to Jupiter, and that's a very like good aspect. It's a very fortunate and benevolent aspect. Jupiter's friend to the moon. So you want to make a wish when that happens, and that happens at 1:16 p.m. PST time. So make a wish, light a little candle, just, sit in meditation, however you manifest or whatever you do, just set those intentions, because this is a great opportunity to call in some luck, some pot of gold. Now, it's also very potent because they meet up at 16 degrees in the sign of Aries, and every sign 15 and 16 degrees, and I would even give it 14. So let's say 14 to 16 degrees is really in the element of that archetype. So those planets are really embodying this Aries energy, and we already have the sun exalted in Aries. So we're forming this like power punch of energy in the sign of Aries, where we're getting to activate 5 houses in our chart. And why is it 5? The Aries house is being activated by Jupiter, the moon, and the sun there, and also Mercury transiting Aries now. But we also get the rulers of the houses forming new beginnings because they're in the sign of Aries. So that means the sun, which rules Leo, so your Leo house is triggered, and the moon that rules Cancer, that's also triggered. Then Jupiter that rules 2 houses, which is Pisces and Sagittarius, it's triggered. And then we have Aries, which has the houses, it contains the rulers of these houses, right? So there's 5 areas of our life. And if we include Mercury rules Gemini and it rules Virgo, and Mars is transiting the sign of Gemini. So as you can see, this week is going to be way more fast paced because that's the energy of Aries than last week in Pisces, where it's more slower, more drifty, more floaty, more spiritual. This one's like a reborn again energy where the child incarnates from spirit. The child's born and they're like so curious and ready for life. They want to explore everything. They want to touch everything. They want to feel everything. So it's a very exciting time. And then on Wednesday, the 23rd, we have Pluto, dun, 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 going into the sign of Aquarius. Wow. This is where it all starts. So on Jupiter Day, we get Pluto going into the sign of Aquarius. Honestly, this is some real intense energy. Whenever Pluto goes into another sign, you really feel the let go from one house to the invite of another. So the sign of Aquarius, if you have any planets in the early degrees, I want to say I'll give you an orb from 0 to 3 degrees. You're definitely going to feel this Pluto. You're definitely going to feel his presence, his intensity, his obsession. He's ready to start working in the areas that are influenced by Aquarius. And on that day, the void, of course, is 1:29 as the moon moves from the sign of Aries, making a sextile to Mars in Gemini at 29:09 minutes, right before it shifts into exalted state, going into the sign of Taurus. So the moon in Aries is actually sextiling its ruler, and that again, boosting energy, pushing energy. And Aries is making a sextile to any planets in the in Aquarius at least, and then also making a sextile to Gemini. It does not make a sextile to the air signs of Libra, but it still triggers Libra. So shortly after, when the moon shifts into the sign of Taurus, we have a square. So now the exalted moons of Taurus are not going to feel the same, because the moon's going to be dancing with Pluto in these fixed signs, and the exaltation of the moon is going to push us to go within and be very deep, because Pluto rules Scorpio, where the moon is in its fall expression. And now that the exalted moon in Taurus is making a square to Pluto, we're going to see a different expression. It's not going to be as nice and crisp and sensual. It's going to have some intensity. It's still going to be exalted, but there's going to be an intensity, a push to really go deep, to really feel this in your bones, in your senses, in your body. It's very carnal. It's very integrated with our material belongings, assets, our values, our self-esteem. Is just very tangible within us. So and ready to purge. It's ready to change things. This is great to let go of anything that you feel has been holding you back from expressing yourself, really truly loving yourself, or any type of injury that you had within relationships. You can definitely purge. But just think of this: when we think back on a situation or event that happened in a relationship that really hurt us, and we kind of box it up, we lock it in Pandora's box, and we're like, nope, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to think about that. I'm over it. But because we still embody the energy, when it comes out, all these emotions start like bubbling up, and you start feeling some kind of way. And that's basically what's going to happen before you're able to truly heal. So just remember that with real great releasing comes a sort of I don't want to say pain, but a sort of uncomfortableness. Like that. Sorry about my sound effects this week. But after that, it's going to be relieving. I want you to do a little exercise with me. So this is how it's going to feel. Let's breathe in very deeply. Go ahead and hold it in for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release it. But when you release it, you're going to release it with a so that for me clears my energy. It helps recalibrate the energy in the body. And when you pair it up with making a noise as you exhale out, it brings out all the stored tension that you have in the body and then releases it. Another exercise that I would do on this day would be lying down in bed and then tightening all your muscles. Like you're so tense and you just like hold it for a few minutes. I would give it like 2 minutes. If you've never done this before, just, try as much as you can for 2 minutes. Do whatever you can, feels comfortable. I usually do it for 2. And then you release, and you're going to feel that when you release, you let out so much pent up energy that your body just feels amazingly relaxed. So this is how this aspect feels in your body. At first, there's a discomfort. When you're holding your breath, you want to let it out, there's a discomfort. But when you let it out with sound, you're releasing. The same thing with like tensing up all your muscles and then releasing. So hope you enjoy that little quick tip. And then after that, the moon does make an aspect. It makes a conjunction to the North Node in Taurus, aligning us to our path. So this means we're ready to heal. We're ready to heal whatever is bottled up inside. But just I want to say a few hours before I missed one of the aspects, the moon makes a sextile to Saturn. So again, Saturn is really embodied. It rules our structure, rules our bones, our skin in our body, joints in our body. I meant to say the skin too. So this is also good to look at your beauty regimen and your self-care routine. You might want to change things up or purge your cosmetics. I learned something new from one of my gals in my Astro Vibe tribe. I'm not really too much into makeup. When I became a mother, a lot of things shifted for me and changed for me. And I haven't really used much makeup, and I was very simple with my skincare. And I learned, aside from products having an expiration date, there's also a little symbol that's located on the right side of most cosmetic products or derma cosmetic products. And it looks like a little open container with like a little lid flipping up. And then there's a number inside of there, such as 6M or 12M or 18M. I never knew what that was. Well, she explained to me that means that from date of opening, you have that many months to use up the product. So it doesn't matter if the product says it's going to expire in 2025. If you opened it January of this year, you have 6 months, if there's a 6 there, to use it up. And after that, it's trash. It's no longer, it no longer has the seal of approval to do what it's supposed to do. And I was just mind blown because I was going through my small amount of products that I had that I really hadn't used much. And most of them had to be tossed out. So I purged self-care products. And it felt so good, like clearing up my, bathroom and just letting go of that. And then I got all new ones. And then I decided to grab a Sharpie and write down the date that I opened it. So like that I know that based on that suggestion date that they put on there that the product is good for from date of opening, I know exactly when that expires, because then you're going to forget, right? When did I open this product? So yeah, that was amazing for me. So do something like that. Go through your, makeup, skincare, or go through your budget, your resources, your money or savings. Do something that's going to keep Saturn busy and help with your resources, because Saturn also impacts our money. He's the ruler of retirement. He's the ruler of a career, and our career typically earns us money. So he's pretty savvy when it comes down to money. So use his energy wisely. Then on Friday the 24th, the moon is still in the sign of Taurus, but now the Taurus moon is forming its first crescent. So the crescent moon is going to be born in Taurus, and this is a beautiful moon. You want to go outside and really connect with this energy. Now, the moon made a conjunction to Uranus on that same day, so something could come unexpectedly. Some opportunities could come unexpectedly. You could also be a little bit more nervous and tensed up, but all you need to do is do that muscle clenching and releasing, and trust me, it's not going to feel as bad. That same day, the moon makes a conjunction to Venus in Taurus, and that's also a good luck aspect because both of these ladies, the moon and Venus, really love the sign of Taurus. Venus rules Taurus, and the moon is exalted in Taurus. And when the ruler of Taurus is in the sign, it really helps whatever planet is there. In that case, it's the moon. So that's very amazing that we're going to have that beautiful conjunction. This is great for money. It's great for love, and it's Venus Friday. So maybe you want to go out with your girls that day, or, you know, your boys, whatever, and go out there and mingle, or just do things that you love. Make it a spa day. This is perfect for a spa day, actually. So I know what I'm going to be doing. I actually booked a spa treatment for my mom and I, and the moon, mom, me, her daughter, the Venus. So that's what we're doing that day. So we're really utilizing this energy to bond, and I'm spending time with her, and she's, you know, enjoying her treatments. So use it wisely, use it well. And on Saturday the 25th, finally, I have mutable energy in my chart left and right. I have planets in Sagittarius, my sun's in Pisces, my moon's in Virgo. And I was just over it. I just needed Gemini energy to get a break, and I needed Mars to shift. Now, Mars, it's not the greatest in the sign of Cancer, but I was just over this long ass transit in the sign of Gemini. We've been having Mars in the sign of Gemini since October of 2022, and it's just been too long, and I'm just like so ready for it to stop squaring my sun, squaring my moon, and I was done. So we get the shift of energy from Mars into Cancer at 4:45 a.m. on Saturday the 25th. That's also going to be a challenging day because we have the moon void, of course, for 8 hours and 22 minutes. And that's when the moon makes a sextile to Neptune at 25 degrees. So after that, at 9:19, it goes void, of course, and the moon shifts into the sign of Gemini at 5:41. So from 9:19 PST, and that's AM, until 5:41 PST PM, we're going to have the moon void, of course, in Taurus. So really just lounge that day. Take it easy or work on old projects. Again, watch that moon void, of course, video. I give you suggestions on what to do. So like that, you don't start something new and then have it all crumble down because you just didn't dot your I's and cross your T's, and it was because the moon was void, of course. So, yeah, we have a lot of aspects that day. We have the moon then going into the sign of Gemini. And as soon as it goes into the sign of Gemini, because Pluto just shifted into Aquarius, it makes a trine to Pluto. So now the air signs are going to be playing with Pluto in Aquarius. So when it's in Gemini, it's going to make a trine, which is going to like expand our mind. So the moon already rules our emotional mind. And now when it's in the sign of Gemini, it's ruling the logical and practical mind and influence our emotional mind. And then Pluto rules like deep psychology. So just think about like how much rewiring we're going to go through with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius and getting activated with these air moons when it's in Aquarius and when it's in Libra. So pretty cool. And then on Sunday the 26th, we end the week with a sextile of a moon in Gemini to the sun in Aries, which is quite beautiful. And we also have a conjunction of Mercury and Chiron at 15 degrees, which is it's very close to the same degrees where the moon and Jupiter met earlier on the 22nd of this week. So think about it. We're shifting something, we're healing something, and maybe we're able to talk about it more. And how the famous phrase goes, abracadabra, manifest as you speak. This is quite an alignment here. And I did want to go back to the moon being in Taurus. Now, when the moon is in Taurus, it's exalted. And when the sun is in Aries, it's exalted. So that's also considered a very lucky alignment. So we're going to have this energy of the moon and the sun being in exaltation. And we also have the ruler of the moon, the ruler of Taurus, Venus, in the same sign as the moon. So it's a double whammy. This is good to start things, start projects, manifest things, abracadabra your butt off on these days. And that's going to be from Thursday the 23rd until early morning Saturday the 25th. So yeah, I mean, you can take it all the way to 5:41 on the 25th, but again, I would just want to manifest all these things at 9:19 a.m. before the moon goes void, of course, because even though it's in Taurus, it's not going to be making any aspects to any of the planets. So you want to avoid that. Now, the stone of the week. If you own an emerald, if you own a rose quartz, if you own opal, or any loose crystals like chrysocolla or rhodonite. I really like rhodonite, and green aventurine. These are amazing for this week because we have that nice, beautiful Venus energy, and you can really manifest a lot of things into your life. Anything connected to Venus, such as love, relationships, money, resources, self-love, desire, fertility, anything, and also resourcefulness and food, the food that we eat. I mean, honestly, Venus rules a lot of things that we value. So anything that you value, you can manifest into your life. If you value having a lot of time off to spend with your family, you can call that in and work out how this is going to be possible. Is it that you're going to start a different career that you can work from home, or you're going to start a business? Whatever it is, you can focus on long-term goals and just start planning during this week. There's some amazing astrology happening this week. Again, some of you are going to feel the intensity. Others are going to feel some relief. So let me know in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling. How's it going for you? Because this is one of the most exciting yet kind of interesting weeks, because we're going into new territory and we're like, wait a minute, what is going on here? So yeah, I wish you all the very best, and I will catch you later on my next podcast and or YouTube video. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit like, notification bell, and comment below. Let me know how you're doing. Thanks, and love and light. Bye.